Virgo, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to the Unseen Hands Collective. This is going to be your January 2021 shift reading. So we're looking at the shape you're shifting out of this month, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. Virgo, the image that's coming to me for you is actually a part of my process of checking in with myself, and I'm going to share that with you. It makes sense to me that it's such a personal image because I'm a Virgo, so I hope that it's applicable to you as it is to me. So I was being drawn specifically to the process, the visualization I use to connect with myself and to connect, to open my energy up to receive whatever messages are coming through your readings. Okay, so I'll walk you through my process a little bit. And of course, it always changes, but this is a practice I come back to over and over, which is imagining something, and the image I use changes, but something growing out from my root, from the base of me, and connecting down into the core of the earth. And I wait as long as it takes until I feel that I am tethered, until I feel that I am grounded, rooted, touched in. And then I focus my energy on the top half of my body of sort of opening up and receiving and allowing. And then whatever comes in that space is what I share with you. And what came this time is interesting. It was a different sensation than what I normally feel. Once I felt tethered, I actually felt my spine in the back of my body sort of opening. I imagined it opening up all the way up my spine until it get to the back of my neck. And that's where it felt most significant. It was like the base of my skull, back of my neck. It was almost like you could imagine a light beaming out from there, and it sort of opened up in the space where normally I can't see. And I think the significance of this, I'm thinking about the back of the neck, the scruff of the neck as being a bit of a vulnerable place, a blind spot, a vulnerable spot, and also a spot we unconsciously hold a ton of tension, especially when we're scared or feeling vulnerable. And so there's something about that particular spot that is extraordinarily vulnerable, and as a result, a bit defensive, like I'm thinking about the muscular tension around that area. And then the magic that you're able to access when you can allow that space to soften and open up. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to share your cards. Here's your shift, Virgo. We're looking at the Next World Tarot here in these January shifts. The shape you're shifting out of is this Five of Wands, and it says strife. The shape you're shifting into, the Eight of Cups, and it says abandon. What I see, actually, I'm drawn to the way this person, the Five of Wands is a chaotic energy. It is a difficult process to move through. It is often confusing. It's unclear as to what exactly is going on. The energy can be overwhelming because it's not linear. It seems like a bit of a mess. Strife. Okay, moving through this experience of strife, this person is centering themselves. If you notice, like they are opening the base of their body to connect with the earth. I'm actually remembering Kevin's December shift scope for Virgo. Okay, if you're tuned in with the collective here and listening to all we have to offer, Kevin's shift scope for Virgo was all about how you root down when you don't necessarily have an obvious way to tether yourself or root yourself. So now this is connecting with the reading that is coming through here in January as well. So it's like I'm seeing this person connecting, rooting in, and then notice hand on the heart, connecting in with the heart, connecting with how they're feeling. And then even the way their head is turned seems to be exposing that vulnerable spot at the back of the neck, which especially tenses up in experiences like the Five of Wands, in chaotic, uncertain, confusing times of, as this card says, strife. And so the shift seems to be towards freedom. The shift seems to be towards, the Eight of Cups is often a difficult emotional process of leaving something behind, but it's also releasing an emotional weight in order to lighten your load and pursue something else, or like move towards a different pursuit than what you have been pursuing. Walking away from something you've invested in order to kind of free your energy to pursue something that's going to be more satisfying for you. And in this card, it says abandon. So there's this real, like, there's something at the back of your neck, and there's something in your maybe most vulnerable blind spot that actually has a key that could open up a freedom and a lightness for you that would perhaps shift what you're pursuing and how you're pursuing it. Here's what the shape shift looks like. We've got 2 sevens in the Devil. 7 of Wands, 7 of Pentacles, and the Devil energy. So speaking of freedom and tethers, the Devil energy for me is, at least in this reading, it's coming through as the things that bind us to a certain way of thinking or a certain track. Because, I mean, we're looking at the Devil and the Eight of Cups. This is a transition from being tethered to moving on and feeling free and feeling emotionally willing to give something up in order to pursue something more aligned, or in order to pursue something that is more stable, or and in this card, I mean, this bicycle's flying through the air. It is freedom, it's lightness, the lightness of abandon, the freedom that can come with that sense of abandon. So there is a sense of releasing yourself from something here, and it may be a blind spot. It may be something that's difficult for you to see. The Devil is something that, mythologically hides in the shadows, hides in places we're afraid to go to. And so again, it's bringing me back to that. Something that there's a lot of distractions going on in the Five of Wands. A lot of noxious, difficult, I mean, like, that's how it's coming through in this card. There's like poison and blah, blah, blah. A lot of trouble to focus on. But it's like, if you can block that out, tether yourself, ground yourself in order, and not in order to like clamp down, not in order to double down, but in order to open up and invite release and invite movement. It's like there's something there that could offer you something previously unseen. And then the 2 sevens, 7 of Wands says courage, 7 of Pentacles says vision. 7 of Pentacles here is an energy of waiting for the time to be right. And in this card, it's this person, it's like in the meantime, just stringing one bead after another, right? Just like building up her inventory, building up her shop. And so there's this process that you are in, Virgo, where you might be waiting. There may not be a clear destination. And so you might be finding yourself waiting for the right timing of something, and needing to kind of hold strong. Courage, with 7 of Wands, the courage to sort of hold your ground or hold strong while you go through that limbo. But it's interesting because sometimes the 7 of Wands can be a defensive energy. It can, like I was talking about in the beginning, it can be where we brace to fight off anything that's coming at us that seems counter to what we were doing or how we were seeing something. And everything in this reading is like the real courage. You know, this person's courage in the face of a lot of aggression is actually really soft. It's steady and, again, very rooted, very stable. This person is, their base is against the earth. But there's a softness here. There's a stillness, a gentleness, a sort of trust deep within, and a trust of the self that would actually allow that defensiveness to melt, and it would allow whatever's trying to encourage this kind of movement to speak. This is a very interesting reading, Virgo. Oh yeah, and I wanted to tell you on the bottom of the deck after the shuffle is the Eight of Pentacles, which is Sun in Virgo. So it's really confirming for me, like, yes, Virgo, this is your reading. This is about some sort of really personal self-illumination, but it's also about whatever it is that you're working towards. It says creation. And they may be one and the same. They are in this card. You know, Sun in Virgo is your sense of self, which is deeply linked to what you are creating, what you are making, and maybe what you are creating with others. Be willing to listen, I think, amidst the chaos. And set your intention in this time of waiting for the harvest to be ripe. This came through in your December reading as well. This may not be a time of reaping. This may be a time of continuing to nurture whatever it is you're trying to grow. Make sure you're listening in all the chaos so that you're oriented in the direction of greatest freedom, especially the greatest emotional freedom, because this is the Eight of Cups, after all. This is somehow about liberation, this reading, and lightness, and something previously unseen opening up. It's interesting. I'm going to get into this now deeper in an extended reading. I've got other decks. We're going to get into this and see what it's really about. So if you'd like to join me for that extended reading, I invite you to go to unseenhandscollective.com, where you can purchase the extended reading in the shop. You can also find it in the monthly memberships. So I hope that you will join us over there at the Collective for your full shift reading in January 2021. All right, Virgo, take care. For Virgo. Okay, here's the Seven of Cups, Eight of Cups. Imagining more. There's something more that maybe you haven't yet thought of or are afraid to allow yourself to imagine or conceive of or explore, that is kind of like trying to come up out of this vulnerable blind spot. And I think that's where it is. It's like the thing you're afraid to think about, perhaps, or the thing you're afraid to consider, perhaps that is the thing that can open up a lot of freedom and possibility for you.